Now that was a shocking discovery for me when I now entered Bayelsa. Now I came with that thought and I was just like, God, if you can just do any miracle. As I'm entering this place, can you please bring back the light? Because as a report,
you meet bad people everywhere.
I've met more good people. I've met more good people.
Because I'm full-blooded Bayelsa and I have the passion to put Bayelsa on the map in the right sense.
People asking me, have you learned how to swim? Like, what?
And so one of the general misconceptions of Bayelsa is the swampy area. They feel like, what? They feel like...
I've been in Bayelsa now for close to a year. And Bayelsa was in Northern State. So the very first thing I did was to go check the map. Okay, where are they on the map? And I was like, okay, they're not too far from Delta. Okay, they're not too far from Rivers. Well, I've never been in that area before, right? But let's go.
Hello, welcome to the RoundSpot right here on Primarald TV. I am Cynthia Okolobi and I have with me my wonderful co-host.
Thank you. I am Daniel Ayotunde, and it's such a pleasure being on the show.
That's right. Today is the maiden edition of this show, RoundSpot. Well, we actually came up with this idea to talk about issues in Bayelsa State, not just in Bayelsa State, but also the Niger Delta. We want to dissect issues. We want to bring to light those issues that are so prevalent, but are so easily, forgotten. And also, since it's the very first episode, we want to start from the very beginning, from the very top. Daniel Ayotunde, today is a wonderful day because, this is going to be a show that will feature guests of different teams and caliber in Bayelsa State and in the Niger Delta. And I know as a visitor, of course you are.
You just have to rub that in, but
yes,
no problem.
That's right. So as a visitor, there are so many things that you have heard about Bayelsa State.
Definitely.
And when you came here, it was quite different from what you heard, right?
Yeah.
So that's right. Today we're going to be talking about the misconceptions in Bayelsa State. And right now, I am just so eager to hear from Daniel. He has so much to say.
Oh, you said so much. When you put it that way, I become scared. But then, yes, I come from a place whereby when we hear Bayelsa, the first thing you want to do is to read your state and capital again in your head. And then, okay, is Bayelsa really a state in Nigeria? That kind of thing. It's not really a very popular society, so to say, or let me say a very popular name. It does not really ring that much of bell.
That's right.
But in comparison with a place like River State, Port Harcourt, where it looks like an happening place, and also Delta State, Asaba, those are very popular names. Yeah. But when you hear Bayelsa, you are a little bit confused.
I know, right? There was a time also, a friend of mine, we were just texting online and we had never met before. And he asked me, where are you from? I said, Bayelsa. I was like,
where's that?
Where?
Good. That's always the reaction. In fact, as at the time, I was thinking Bayelsa was a northern state.
Ooh.
Honestly.
Wow.
I was thinking Bayelsa was a northern state. So the very first thing I did was to go check the map. Okay, where are they on the map? And I was like, okay, they're not too far from Delta. Okay, they're not too far from Rivers. Well, I've never been in that area before, right? But let's go. And then came the news. Okay. So I started asking people, what do you know about Bayelsa State? But then, thank goodness for someone like one of the past presidents of the country, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Yes. So that was the first thing many people said, okay, that's the state of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. I was like, okay.
Sorry for cutting you short, Daniel, but should that even be the case? This is a place where the first commercial quantity of oil was found,
right?
In 1956 or 7 or thereabouts. And how is it so unpopular? It's supposed to be like a tourist attraction, right?
Center. You get it. Now, that's why I'm very passionate about rewriting the Bayelsa narrative. Of course, I have a general vision of rewriting the African narrative from an indigenous standpoint. And I think that Bayelsa is a good place to start.
That's right.
Okay, I've done a little bit in the West, but then I believe Bayelsa's story has not been told. Or let me say, has not been heard. And it has not been heard because it has not been told. It has not been told by those that matter. It has not been told by policymakers. It has not been told by indigenous voices. Bayelsa's story has been misrepresented, miswritten by people who know nothing or who know little about Bayelsa. So then comes the misrepresentation, like I had mentioned earlier. The whole militancy is one of the things that people think about when you think about Bayelsa. The whole Niger Delta Avengers thing. Now, those are the narratives that has plagued the land.
Yes, and it's so easy to jump on the bandwagon to just go with
that flow.
Yes,
go with that popular opinion.
Yes, that Bayelsa is like this. Like I remember sometime last year, I was texting with a friend, and he's in the West. And he said, "Where are you from?" I said, "Bayelsa." And he was like, "Oh, okay. I'm planning to come visit you, but I mean, how do I get there? I heard there's swamps.
Swamps,
there."
right?
And I felt embarrassed. I was like, "Come on now, we have an airport. Why now?"
Oh yeah. That's also a lot. Because I heard a lot of questions. People asking me, "Have you learned how to swim?" Like, what? I've been in Bayelsa now for close to a year, and I've still not learned how to swim because I don't need it.
You see that? So one of the general misconceptions of Bayelsa is the swampy area. They feel like
all water.
They feel like our motors, our cars, and our bikes and everything.
They don't work.
Is a canoe.
Yeah.
Yes, our automobile is a canoe. That's just something. And I mean, I'm just saddened by the fact that people look at Bayelsa with those kind of lenses, and I just want to be able to change that narrative that hey, Bayelsa has something to offer. I mean, Bayelsa has been breaking her back for Nigeria. Yes,
you can say that again.
This place is supposed to be a hub. It's supposed to be a destination, a travel destination for not just Nigerians, for the people of Africa and the world at large. Because look, commercial quantity was founded here for the first time. So at least, if not for anything, for this fact, it should be a very popular tourist site. The government's eyes should really be here, not just the state government, now the federal government should really look into the state and develop it. And in fact, Oloibiri, I'm from Ogbea, so yes,
okay.
now us. Yes, Oloibiri should be a place to be.
Oh.
Yes, it should be, because that's the place it was first founded.
Okay, the oil. Right?
Yes.
Wow.
But I don't know why, time and time again, Bayelsa just gets, shoved at the back of just swept under the rug and just in darkness. I mean, look at light. We've talked about one of the misconceptions, which is people thinking that Bayelsa is a swampy area. Now, let's talk about the truth, because obviously that's just a myth.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the truth. Electricity. What do you have to say about that, Daniel?
Oh, yeah. Very interesting that you bring that up, because the vehicle that first brought me to Bayelsa, in that vehicle, there were about two of us, strangers from the West, coming from the West. We have not been to the Niger Delta region. This other friend of mine, who we also graduated together from school, was going to River State. I was coming to Bayelsa State, and there were about 3 other people. There were 2 serving corps members. They were already serving, so it's not their first time coming. And then there was someone else who I think was an indigene of Bayelsa State. And the 3 of them were telling me about the state of electricity in Bayelsa State. And they told me that I needed a power bank that would supersede 50,000 mAh. Because there has not been electricity supply. This was last year, November. There had not been electricity supply for the past 6 months.
6 months, yeah. That was the time the pipeline vandalism was at the highest.
Highest, right? But even at that, they failed to include that there are still some areas that had light. Now, that was a shocking discovery for me when I now entered Bayelsa. Now, I came with that thought and I was just like, God, if you can just do any miracle. As I mentioned this place, can you please bring back the light? Because, as a remote worker, I need electricity for a lot of things. So, I had that thought coming into Bayelsa State. And in 2 weeks, that thought was dissolved. Now, I don't know what happened, but I just got to know that the light has been restored. I don't know how it happened, but I believe it's God answering my prayers anyways. But then even at that, even in the midst of the whole there's no light issue, I mean, there were still some areas that had light. I learned that there were some areas that had light. I think, I might not be too very specific as to those areas now, but okay, I think Baranturu.
Oh, okay.
As at that time, they said Baranturu had light. As at that time, oh my God, there's this other area, Michael Popo.
Okay.
My Okokpo had lights. So those key areas, even when they said there was no light, and it was a statewide thing or a citywide thing, there were still some areas that had lights. And it's understandable because this is also another part of it that people don't want to pay attention to. I think we spend a lot of time talking about the negatives.
Yeah.
That we make it seem as if the negative is the only thing that is going on. Even in the absence of light, there are a number of things that was going right in Bayelsa and that are still going right in
like
Bayelsa.
Peace, for example.
Peace. Honestly,
this state is among the
peaceful.
Yes,
like,
the most
very
peaceful
peaceful. I've heard people also try to debate that, anyways. But I've learned something from the Honorable Commissioner for Youth Development in my interactions with him, and he said every area have their good places and their bad places. We can't shy away from it. It's life, and it's one of the things that keeps life in balance.
That's
the
right.
good and the bad. But the issue is that many people like overemphasizing. Let me put it that way. They like overemphasizing the negative, and they talk little or talk nothing about the positive. I've met good people here in Bayelsa State. Yeah, I've met a few people that have given me bad experiences too. We can't shy away from that because it's life.
It's life.
But
you meet bad people everywhere.
I've met more good people. I've met more good people, good Bayelsans.
That's a very
enterprising Bayelsans, amazing Bayelsans, serious Bayelsans. People put me on my toes.
Like me, for example.
Yeah, you can say that again. Anyways, like my wonderful host and team lead. But yeah, that's just how it is. It's just life. It's the lenses with which we are choosing to look at life. But then I believe that the Bayelsans have a lot of work to do in ensuring that narrative is set right. They have a lot of work to do in intentionally telling the story, the indigenous story of the good people of Bayelsa.
That's right. That's why we are here, because I'm full-blooded Bayelsan and I have the passion to put Bayelsa on the map in the right sense.
In the right sense.
So that's why we came up with this program, the RoundSpot. The RoundSpot.
Yeah.
All the issues, all the controversies, all the problems, the good, the bad, and the ugly will be seen here, and we must change the narrative about Bayelsa because Bayelsa is a beautiful place.
Yeah.
I remember sometime in 2019, I had some friends from Abuja. They came for a wedding of their friend, and when they came, the first thing they said was, "Oh wow, this is an island. It's so peaceful." And I remember one of them talking about the air. He said the air is so clean.
Yeah.
Yes, I can just perceive the freshness of the air. And I was like,
okay. You didn't see that as a big deal.
I didn't see it as a big deal because this is somewhere I've been for all my life. And I was like, really? He said, yes. I mean, there's no air pollution. The place is just Yenagoa now, specifically. It was like, this city is so clean. I was like, and it's true.
Yeah.
So because of, the misconceptions about, because I mean, in the 36 states, when it comes to states having serious bad misconceptions, it should be Bayelsa should be among the
very
states.
first.
Yes.
The very first ones.
I mean, there's just so much to talk about in the negative sense, and I'm like, are you serious? Look at me now. Hold me someone from Bayelsa too now. I'm not bad, and I know my friends. I mean, we are thinking people. We are doing people. How come we are just pushed aside all the time? And so that's the reason why we came up with this show. As time goes on, we will have guests. We'll have guests, like I said earlier, of different things and caliber. In fact, we'll have celebrities featuring on the show because we must change the narrative about Bayelsa. Bayelsa is not as bad as people think it is. Now, Daniel, one of the misconceptions that I remember we talked about earlier was, can you please remind me again?
Okay, we spoke about militancy. Militancy is one major misconception that people have about the state. Then the water, a lot of emphasis on the water. It's always flooding and it's dirty and all of that. And it's almost as if there is no land. Actually, when they paint the picture,
Yeah.
like it's all water, no land.
Okay,
And
no.
then, and then there's also the talk about the society.
What about the issue of the youth not wanting to speak their language?
Yes, that also. I think that is a little bit true, though. I mean, I've interacted with Bayelsans now, and I've realized that it's almost very difficult for you to hear the native Bayelsa language from the young Bayelsans.
Is that a thing?
They would rather converse in pidgin English than in their native language. For instance, in the West, from where I come from, it's not everybody that speaks dialect, quite all right, but there is a central Yoruba language that everybody speaks, even across the state. Basically, it's hard for you to hear pidgin. Usually, if you hear pidgin, most times, I think it's in places like Lagos and maybe some places in Ogun State and Oyo State that pidgin is much more mainstream. You'd rather hear people speak Yoruba as a general language that cuts across the West than pidgin. But I think it's not like that over here.
Over here. Well, the reason I would say the reason for that is because there are so many dialects here. Yes.
Oh.
We don't have a
central language. I think
so,
I heard that.
Yes,
also.
There are 8 local governments. There are different dialects.
Across those 8 local governments.
Across the 8 local governments. Now, there are the Ijaw speaking people, there are the PA speaking people, the Nembe speaking people, the Ogbia speaking people. Now, I'm from Ogbia local government.
Okay.
And even in my own local government, there are some dialects that I can't understand what they're saying.
Oh.
Yes. I can't understand what they're saying. Like Kolo, Emea. I can't understand them. And in some cases, they too can't understand when I speak.
Your language.
No, Ogbia.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
That's what I'm saying.
So they too can't understand. Yes. But we are still Ogbia. The same local government, the same language. So you see the contradiction is it just starts from the very roots. So that is why
I don't think it's a contradiction. I would say it's just a complexity.
Well, okay.
So
put it in a better sense.
There is a local government and then it's multilingual. Now that for me should be a thing of beauty rather than a thing of chaos.
So how do we hear ourselves? That's a major question.
Well, yes. I think now that I have this understanding, it makes more sense why pidgin is rather mainstream than a central language. And then pushing for a central language might also be a little bit off point because whose language will be central language?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Everybody wants their language to be
you get But I think that also should not be a reason for the culture to be eroded. I am saying this from the standpoint of erosion of culture. Okay. So you see people who can't speak their dialect, which I think is an issue.
I can't speak perfectly, but I hear perfectly.
Okay, you hear perfectly, but you can't speak perfectly. Yeah. I won't say I can speak my dialect very perfectly too, but at least I can muster some words in my dialect. Not even some words. I can keep a conversation in my dialect. That much. Well, I was much more intentional as to language growing up. Well, in my upbringing, we had a little bit of French even in the mix. My other brother speaks Spanish. Yeah. But then, in addition to that, we are proud of our culture, we are proud of our dialects, and we can converse in that language. So I believe there should be a sensitization, if to say, for people to wear their cultural identity with pride.
Well, I think that sensitization will come mostly from the educational sector. So this is something the government should look out for and, include it just like in a curriculum now. Yes, it should be included in the curriculum in schools so that the young generation will not just think, hey, we are without a language. They should be inculcated this knowledge from a very young age. So this is up to the government actually to put this in perspective.
Yeah, definitely. And I believe that will work also since it's based on school and those schools are located in specific local governments, specific areas, that
But hey, let me tell you something. If I tell you this, look, when you go to the villages, the children, the young children, when they speak, even as an expert, living in the city, you may not hear them. They're rapids. So at least we still have hopes. Those in the village, they know how to speak very they know how to speak very well.
Then I also think that there should be a cross I don't know how to put it now, but more like a cross whereby those in the city go to experience the village life, and then those in the village are also permitted to come into the city and experience the city life.
Talking about that. Sorry for cutting you short.
Okay.
Hold that thought. I just remembered something. This thing you just said reminded me of some time ago when I was in my junior secondary, JSS2, and I was about to go over to JSS3. My dad just took me and he said, come, let's go and visit grandma. And I said, oh, nice, because everybody loves grandma. So he took me to her and we had a meal, we had a chat, and he was like, I'm coming. I want to go and buy something. And I didn't see him for 2 years. That was his way of training me to learn how to speak the language. I was so pissed. 2 years, I didn't see, yes. I didn't see my dad, so I stayed in the village for 2 full years. I attended the secondary school there, and it was a time I can never forget. It was so much fun. When the 2 years elapsed, when he came to pick me up, I didn't even want to go back because at that point I had made friends. The language was much more easier for me to speak. I could communicate. I could hear properly, and I could swim. And I could farm. Yes, I could farm.
Wow.
I was always looking forward to the days that we'll go to farm with grandma and grandpa. It was amazing. And to be honest, that really toughened me up. Yes, it made me very tough. I mean, I used to be this shy little girl in the city, but when I came back, I was, I could stand my ground because, in the village, everybody's hustling. I remember there was a time where the rainy seasons, we'll go into the forest to pick ogbono. Yes, the raw fruits. And it was an avenue for the young people to make money if you're hardworking.
Okay.
So I joined the bandwagon. I joined them and I said, I must go. They were like, they were always looking at me like this city girl. And I didn't want to be looked down on. I wanted to show them that I was strong. So I said, hey,
that you belong
now, you understand? So I said, I want to go with you. And they said, oh, okay, no problem. So what are you going to wear? Because what to wear is a problem. You need to be well kitted, your slippers, everything. So I had to condemn one of my clothes. I said, this one I will wear.
This one is for.
And all the clothes looked very fine. Really? So they didn't want me to spoil my clothes, so they gave me clothes, and then we went. We wake up around 4 a.m. And by 5 we are setting out. We're going to pick up one. Now let me tell you the trick. Some people at the end of the work day, they pick ogbono worth 10,000, 12,000 like that, a custard of ogbono. But because of my nature, I just couldn't beat them. I was picking up ogbono worth only 500 or 1,000, and they were tapping me on the back. They were like, "You tried it." So that was just on the lighter note. This story is just to show that what you said actually makes sense. There should be integration. The people from the village should come and visit the city and experience a little bit of the city life. And the people from the city should essentially go back to the village and experience that, because it will give you another insight, a different perspective.
A fresh perspective.
That's right.
And then it's also for me, well, as a creative, there's this part where you just want to interact with nature, the undisturbed nature, not one that has a lot of hustling and bustling and all of that. You just crave that serene environment. That's for me, I believe it's a whole lot that the so-called village areas and rural areas have to offer.
Yeah.
That untampered with freshness, that comes with those kind of areas. And I believe it's not even I know it's one of the things I'm enjoying here in Bayelsa. There is
serenity.
There's that serenity. All the noise that comes with the Western environment, I don't really have a lot of that here. And
That's right.
I love Bayelsa for that.
Just imagine you go to work by 9 a.m. you can dare to wake up by 8 o'clock. If you're not a family man or woman, you can dare to wake up by 8 o'clock.
Yeah, and you still
meet up, but you don't dare that thing.
Oh God, no! Let's not call names, right?
Let me not call names. I mean, it's a place where you're just at ease. To be honest, I like the environment here. I like my state so much. My goodness, I love my state.
Can you say that again?
Yes, and I mean, the government really needs to put in more effort. I mean, the Governor Doyediri led administration, he's really doing a lot when it comes to infrastructure. But I think they also have to look inwardly, more inwardly. They should look further, because this state has the potential to be a tourist hub. I'll say it over and over again. Like, there are places that have beaches around, beautiful beaches, and because of lack of maintenance, it's not well kept and it doesn't generate any income. These are things that will generate income. I mean, build resorts in places like Nembe, Brass. These are the places where you have the seaside, close to the Atlantic. So many things can be done.
I think there's also a reversed, should I say reversed narrative or reversed expectation here too. I had this conception that because Bayelsa is largely riverine, now permit me to say that so seafood should be cheaper.
No.
But I saw that was not the case. I mean, sad. I was that's an irony for me.
So sad.
Like a big irony. I felt
even we ourselves,
I'm disappointed.
Like, yes, even we ourselves, we get to complain every now and then. Like, why is this fish so expensive? It's supposed to be cheap. I mean, if you go to the north, you get tomato very cheap. You get fresh pepper, onion, yam, very cheap. So how come you are in Bayelsa where there's so much water bodies and fishes are so expensive?
Yeah.
I don't know who sets the rules.
But, although on the other hand, now I learned there are some areas, because again we might have to be very specific now on regions and zones. I learned there are some areas where some of these things even costs close to nothing or even nothing at all. Now I might not be too sure as to the detail, but I've heard in a passing whisper that Ishan, I think that's what it's called.
Isa.
Is that
periwinkle.
Okay, that. Now, okay, this is something I've not tasted until I entered Bayelsa.
Oh, really?
Yes, I've not tasted it before.
Wow.
I used to hear about it, but then I think we call it Ishawuru in my area, in our language. So I learned that thing. If you go to a place like Nimbe, you can get it for free.
Okay, I
learned now, for instance. And then crayfish. I learned crayfish is much more abundant in a particular region. Now I've forgotten the name also. And that if you go to those places, you could almost get it for free. Or so those two things. So I think this is also a little bit centered to region. Or like they are very, very specific to region and areas. But you know, when they try, the crayfish and the fish itself are very expensive.
So expensive. And now there's another misconception about Bayelsa that I want to clear. Well, it's a good one, but it also has its downside.
A good misconception. Let's hear it.
Now, people from outside, they believe that Bayelsans are so wealthy. So when you're supposed to sell something, like for example, I heard someone say, I went to is it Onisha market, and I was pricing stuff, and they asked me, where are you from? And I said I'm from Bayelsa, and they wanted to increase the price because they believe Bayelsans are wealthy. Have you heard about that before?
Now that in itself is dicey, very dicey actually. But yes, it's true. It's true.
Wow.
We believe that Bayelsans are wealthy. In fact, anybody from Niger Delta is wealthy.
Because of the oil?
Yes, because of the oil.
That's a big
all day their head.
Can you imagine?
And because they are from Niger Delta again, there is a pipeline that went through their compounds. Hey. So yes, that's the thought, that's the notion. And I think I've come to realize that that's also a little bit true. I mean, the cost of living, when you think about it, there are certain things that are way pricey here in Bayelsa. Sometimes I compare the price. It's okay, what it is in the West and what it is right here in Bayelsa. And I realize that Bayelsa prices are high, way up there. And I believe it's that high because people are affording it. And if people are affording it, it's because they are richer.
Nah, it's just...
But then, maybe let's throw this out for our viewers.
That's right.
You can drop a comment. Let's know your thoughts about this particular part. But I think that a lot of things are, very pricey right here in Bayelsa State. Now, another misconception, which also comes a little bit ironic, is that there are no clean waters in Bayelsa State.
Yes.
Okay, there are no clean water in Bayelsa State. Although it's riverine and water is everywhere, but you still can't get the clean one that you can use. And from my own personal experience, I think this is also a little bit sketchy, but a little bit so. I come from a place, or let me say, I was staying at a place at a point when the light issue was up, and then for that they could not pump water. Basically, so we didn't have water, so we had to buy from these guys we call Merua. Now, Bayelsa State is the first place where I know this Merua thing.
Really?
For real. Like, all through my over 2 decades of existence, I did not know that there are people who literally hawk water.
Wow, we have a lot to change in the States.
So I was entering, and then I was seeing that, and I was like, okay,
strange.
I have to buy this water, and I'm buying this water. I mean, there's a river right behind my compound, but I dare not go there to get water. So there is water, but clean water is pricey. It's pricey. Yeah. So yeah, thank goodness that the light is better now. And then we are able to pump water from, the wells and all of that. Then there is something else also about talking about clean water. Now this is something that I think I also need to go and look into even after now. But there is this thing they do whereby they put sand into the water. I think probably to control the oil or something.
Oh.
I've seen that. I've seen that phenomenon at work a number of times. They just pack this. I think it's a special kind of sand, not just any sand, but a special kind of sand. They load it into the tank so that the water. I don't know
when they are
pumping. Yes, so it does something to the water. I think purify it a little bit so that it's not just the hardness now. I think it takes away the oily component. So that also. So yeah, clean water. Again, this way we talk about the basic amenities of life.
Yeah.
Good road, good water. There may be a little bit of too short with the infrastructure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I believe Bayelsa has everything it takes to beat Lagos State.
Everything it takes. Now, do you know the map is actually bigger than
Lagos State? Yes, now that's a very funny fact. I heard that in my second week or third week of stay here in Bayelsa, and I was like, no, that doesn't sound right. But then I went and I fact checked, and I realized that it's actually true. I think the only issue is that, or no, not really an issue, but the difference is that Lagos State is much more populated.
Yes.
But still, in terms of landmass and all of that, Bayelsa State has
when you drive around the Yenagoa, you see forest everywhere. It's a virgin land. This land has so much opportunity. We are here. Mm-hmm. We will build our states together because Bayelsa indeed is the glory of all lands. This is the RoundSpot on Primarald TV. And it's been an amazing time with Daniel on monitor. Ayotunde, my co-host.
You tried. It's a monitor.
I tried, right?
You tried, but then.
That's right. So we've come to the end of today's episode. Stay tuned for the next episode will be hotter, I promise you, because we're going to go deeper in these issues. All those issues that you've experienced, you've seen, you are experiencing in Bayelsa, in Yenagoa. Just you can say it right there on the comment section. This is the RoundSpot right here on Primarald TV. Thank you so much for your time. See you again next time. Bye-bye.